Good afternoon. Thank you for having lunch with me.
No problem. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So I just want to start it off thanking everyone who is online right now and will join us online for the recap of this interview with Alexis Toller. Thank you so much. Alexis, I want to start by just talking about how we met. You remember that day?
Yes.
Yes. So I enjoy volunteering and giving back any way that I can. And I was volunteering for a cancer society who put together a beauty day for cancer patients. And I saw you, and it was something, there was a connection between you and I immediately. And I didn't know that it would get this far, but I'm so glad that we continue to stay in communication. And I've watched your journey, and I'm so proud of you. So, so proud of you. And I couldn't be even more prouder to share your story with everyone right now. So I prayed before I got here, Lord, please let this touch whoever. And I think we prayed and talked about God the day that we met. So what's your account of our meeting?
I just remember I was sitting there waiting to I was either waiting to get a wig or they were putting wigs, trying the wigs that they chose for me. And you walked up and you was like, "That's nice." And then we just talked and then you was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful." And like for me, when people were saying that when I was going through that process, it meant a lot. So I was just really happy that connected for me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then we ended up exchanging information and then we've been talking like back and forth through the messenger.
Yes, 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 yes. So today I want to dive a little bit into your journey and also preview your book. I'm so excited about that. So let's start with your journey. Tell us more about your diagnosis, treatments, surgeries, anything you would like to share.
So um I self-diagnosed, like, well, I was laying down one day and I don't know what made me touch my breast, but I did, and I felt two lumps. And so, of course, my thinking, God, no, this is not my portion. It's not going to be cancer. So that was my first thought. So I went to call my OBGYN or messenger, and she was like, "Well, come in for your mammogram and stuff." So I went in and I got that done, and they saw the lump. Um, and so then they wanted to do the biopsy. The biopsy, the first one was horrible. So I ended up having to do two. The first one, she wanted to check like the fluid or something behind the lump. And then they also put like these clips and stuff in there, but she couldn't even get to that part because when she tried to draw the fluid, it was like the worst pain I ever felt in my life. So we had to stop. We had to wait maybe 2 weeks, come back and revisit. But even through that whole process, my thinking was like, cancer is not my portion. Cancer is not my portion. So when I got the diagnosis in August, I was just like, oh my God. So immediately I'm thinking like, God, why? Like I'm questioning because I'm like, I'm already dealing with a lot of other things outside of this. And now I am diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So I never really knew anything about cancer. I never I've seen people post about it or, say they have family members diagnosed and then I see people pass away from cancer. I had a uh cousin who passed away from cancer and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So um it was just initially it was scary, it was emotional. I remember sitting in the doctor's office and I had to meet with like all of these people at one time. So I met with the oncologist first. I met with the radiation doctor. I met with the plastic surgeon. I met with the surgeon. I met with the occupational therapist. I met with a nurse, and it was one other person. But it was just like every time they left out the room, I just burst out crying. I was like, I can't get myself together because I didn't know what the journey was going to look like. But
Yeah.
it got
Uh,
rough, but God is good.
I understand and just know that I'm getting chills, just hearing your story and understanding it from my personal perspective. You know that I am a 5-year survivor, and I remember the day I got the call. I remember where I was. I remember every detail around me. And I just remember being stuck. And I took my cousin with me to my first appointments, the first couple appointments, because I couldn't, I was there physically, but everything they were saying was like Charlie Brown.
It was too
Blah, blah, blah.
my sister on speakerphone, so I get it. I had her on speakerphone, and I was like, "Well, did you hear everything?" And she was like, "Yeah, I heard them." She was like asking questions. I let them know that she was on the phone because I was like, "This is a lot." They gave me all these papers. I'm just like, "This is a lot," and I can't digest any of this.
Yeah, yeah. And so tell me about the first couple of months after the diagnosis and what was going through your mind as it relates to what life would be. And I know you have children. What were your thoughts about that?
So honestly, I just kept reminding myself to stay positive, remain positive.
Mhm.
So every time I went to the doctor and they said, "Okay, well, this is what you have to do," I just said, "Okay." It got easier. Like I said, the first sitting in the doctor's office and them telling me all the things that I would have to do, and these are the side effects, and it was very hard. And so I was just sitting there, literally, just every time they left out, I just cried. So moving forward, one of my friends who used to live in Atlanta, she actually took the little ones because at the time they were 2 and 3. Yeah, they were 2 and 3. So she took them for me while I started chemo, but I didn't tell my oldest daughter. So none of my children were aware of what was going on with me. I kind of like wanted to see how things would go. And, I didn't want my oldest daughter to worry because we were taking her to West Virginia to school. So I just went day to day. And I actually got down there, took her to school right before I started chemo. I think I started chemo the week after. So she had no idea. So she has my location. Eventually, one day, she was like, "Mommy, why do you keep going to Kaiser?" And then I told her. And
Mhm.
so that was hard. So I was in treatment crying over that. But um, initially, I cut my own hair because I was going to cut it anyway. But then when this happened, I was just like, I don't know what that's going to look like for me. So I don't want it to be something super drastic. So I cut my hair short. And then, well, my sister cut my hair short for me. And then, so it's kind of like I was just preparing everything. And then chemo started out okay. I had to do every week though. So it was like a 3 cycle thing. And then the first cycle, though, by the third or fourth day, I was very drained. Um, I had no appetite. I had to give myself injections for 5 days. So it was like a lot. And I'm not the person to give myself shots.
Mm.
So to have to go through that, like mentally, I really went back and forth because I was like, God, why? Like, but I kept saying, it's going to be over soon. It's going to be over soon. So I just tried to remain positive with every negative that I thought. I would say something positive, or I would try to just change my thinking so that it'll be easier for me.
Okay. And so did you have any surgeries or was it just chemo?
Oh, and yeah, I had not a lot, but um, I had to have a double mastectomy. I just got my implants. And so that was a thing for me because I never really cared about breasts. So it was just like I was fine with what I had. So when the plastic surgeon talked to me about it, I was like, at first I was just like really against. getting the double mastectomy. I was like, well, why we can't just do one? But then I was like, you know what? I don't want to have to do chemo ever again in my life. I was like, so let's just take them both. And then something else I did, the gene test. So I carry the BRCA trait with the cancer trait. So they're talking about doing a hysterectomy. I'm like, I'm not getting any more surgeries right now. I literally almost lost my life the end of last year. So I am not, I don't want medicine. You should see how much medicine I just have sitting up here because I stopped taking it. And it was, it was, a, I don't even know where to start. It's all in my book. So I had surgeries. I feel like they were connected to cancer because my immune system was shut down because of the chemo. So I felt like my body had nothing to fight. You know, normally if you get a cut or something, your body can fight, you know, use the antibodies to heal your wounds. So I ended up having a wound that got infected. So when the wound got infected, I developed sepsis. So when I got sepsis, they gave me an antibiotic and that caused Stephen Johnson. So those are two things when I talk to my doctors or when I go and say it to anybody, they're like, those are two things that take you out. And so even I was driving to Richmond. Nobody really knows. I was driving to Richmond a couple times a month in the beginning because I still had a wound when I came home from the hospital in January. So the lady, I finally met the doctor who was there when I arrived, and she said, "We thought we were going to lose you." She said, "When you first got here, we thought you were not going to make it." I still get emotional. I still sitting here just thinking, crying. I'm just like, God, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I don't even know. I don't have any words to describe like what I feel on the inside. Because a pastor told me at my church, he came and he prayed for me. And he said, "This sickness is not your portion. Yeah, this is to be used for greater good." So it's like, okay,
He didn't almost take you out.
yeah.
He knew he was on the edge.
Like I was on the way out of here. And I don't even remember half of my weeks. It was just a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. So can you educate the listeners about what happens, what decisions you have to make when it comes to a mastectomy, um, or
You
what the doctors tell you?
well, I would say I would really say pray because initially you don't want well, I didn't want to I didn't number one, I didn't want to have a flat chest at all. And I know some people have no choice. I've spoke to a woman and both of her daughters had breast cancer. And one of them had to end up being flat chest because your body doesn't always accept the implants too. So there's a lot, it's a whole lot to think about. And I didn't really want to follow anybody else's journey. So I didn't want to, you know, be Googling and go look at videos or talk to other people. For me, that's a lot. Like for me mentally, that was too much. I just wanted it to be like me and God. So I just sat, I mean, I did look up like the different things, like how you can take the fat from your stomach and move it to your breast. But the doctor said I didn't qualify for that because I don't have enough stomach fat. So I couldn't do that. Um, they were able to do nipple sparing, which they're not able to do that with everyone. It depends on where your cancer is found and how close it is to the nipple. The first plastic surgeon, it was crazy. The first surgeon I had told me that I had to get them removed. But it ended up, he didn't do my surgery because he was out of town. So another surgeon did it and he told me I could keep. So it's just like, yeah, it's hard to really make that decision. You just have to really sit with yourself and do some research and see, okay, what's going to work best for me and my body. And not always follow because I stopped my own chemo because after I was in the hospital, I called my doctor and said that was enough. And by the
Mhm.
grace of God, it was all gone by the time I went and had my mastectomy. When they tested the area, they said that I was cancer free.
Say that again.
So cancer free.
Cancer free. Yes. It's a definite journey. And to anyone listening, I hope you are listening to Alexa's story and just taking it in. People experience cancer in different ways. My story is different from your story. And if I were to interview 1,000 people, we would all have some variation. So yeah, thank you so much. Now you mentioned two things. Number one, your oldest daughter found out by your location, and then I imagine there was a conversation. And number two, you more about your relationship with your daughter and how the gene changed your mind, or how you think knowing that you have that.
So when they told me that, I instantly canceled that that out. That's that the devil is like. But because I have four girls and one boy. So I am going to definitely keep them up on getting, just checking themselves out and making sure that they get their checkups. Like she's 20, my oldest daughter. So soon I'm gonna be like, okay, let's go, just get your mammogram just to check it out, or make sure that you're examining yourself because like I said, I found it myself. I didn't have a mammogram done. I didn't have any type of test done. And I always do get tested for cervical cancer anyway. So that has always been negative. But I am going to make sure that they just check as a precaution. But I am claiming nobody else to have cancer. Just we gonna throw the C word out.
I love it. I love it. And how old were you when you were diagnosed?
I just turned 40, so I was 39.
Okay. And had you had a mammogram before that?
I never.
Yeah, because I think the target age is 40.
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing.
I thought about it.
So let's turn the page, per se, and talk about your life as an author. What pr- what prompted you to publish your story?
So the crazy part is I was already writing something, which is it's gonna come. I just have to sit down and get back to it. I was already writing, but then I was journaling as I was going through this. And so I said to myself, okay, while I'm going through, treatment and stuff, I'm going to be typing this other book and then I'll do the journal later. However, once my life turned around, Thanksgiving, when I got home, I said, nope, the journal is going to come first. So I went back and forth with what I wanted to share in the journal because a lot of things that I experienced during that time frame of being in the hospital was weird for me.
Mm.
Um, so it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna put this in the book. I don't know if people are gonna look at me like I'm crazy or think I'm crazy. So I went back and forth, but then I ended up just, writing a lot of it in there. And then I ended up one day I was just sitting and I reached out to I think it was Amazon and I just ended up getting it published. It wasn't I had already started like once I started typing, I was just like going, but it's basically just like my feelings and thoughts and some of the things that I went through in the hospital that's shared in the book. But I did it with hopes that it's gonna help someone else, help either someone who's going through it, someone who has a family member who's gone through it, maybe help them understand a little more because not a lot of scientific terms in there. So it's like straight, this is a survivor journal.
Right, right. And so can you give us a little tease of maybe something that's in the book that we can hold on to until we get the book in our hands?
Let's see. I have my book right here. So I see if I can just read maybe something. I mean, I don't know because it's pretty much just like every day what I went through every let's okay. So I'll read a little bit, maybe like a couple lines. Um I was experiencing a painting where I could barely sit down. I scheduled an appointment with the OBGYN because I didn't know what else to do. I then went to the doctor's visit that Tuesday. So this portion is called the week of Thanksgiving because this is when everything took like a crazy toll. Um, so once I was there, they took blood, and once the results came back, the doctor looked at me and said, "Miss Toller, you will have to be admitted." I was taken into an ambulance to Holy Cross Hospital, where they did a CT scan and declared that the area where I was having pain was an abscess. I was also given blood transfusion. The treatment had my blood levels very low, and I had to have shots in my stomach along with a lot of medications and bags of fluid. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That
so
was
it's
like,
very personal.
yeah.
How did it feel to read that?
I'm okay. Some days I have my time, but I haven't read it since before the editing part. I'll say that. But
Okay.
my mind still flashes back.
Yeah.
For me, it's trying to remember what I can't remember.
Okay.
So was like 3 weeks of my life I don't remember. I can't distinguish what was real and what was hallucination. So
Mm,
because of the medications and stuff I was on, I was hallucinating a lot in the hospital. So I have conversations with my sisters and I'm like, I really want to know, like, what was I saying out loud? Because I can remember all of the hallucinations, which is crazy, but I can't remember a lot from when I was actually awake. Like when people were visiting and things like that, I can't remember everything, but the hallucination part I remember that.
well, I'm excited to get the book and to read it and possibly share it with others as well so they can purchase it and read it as well. But I know that you have an event coming up. Can you tell us about that?
So I have a event on December. Ooh. See, that's the day I woke up, December 19th. That's why the 19th is a day like it's certain days, and now we're getting closer to the holidays. I feel like, I don't know. I can't describe what I feel on the inside, but it's like, because I wasn't home the entire holidays last year. It's like I'm
Mm,
excited, but then it's like, it's another feeling, but I can't really describe it. I can't put a pin on that right now. So,
right.
um, October 19th is when the event is. It's in District Heights. Um, but I'll be signing books. A lot of people who have purchased books want to get them signed. So I'll be signing books. I'll also be sharing because I did not want to put the pictures in the book, but I have a lot of pictures and
Mhm.
videos. Just like along my journey from getting the port, from getting from my first day of chemo. I have a lot of photos and videos and stuff. And then I have a video that really helped me get through. I'm gonna share all of that day and I'll be signing books. We'll do an icebreaker. I have like a little agenda. So it's on Eventbrite. Um, but it's a free event. So
Okay. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited. You inspire me. I like to write, but I've been procrastinating. And I believe that everybody has a story. And you inspire me to share my story. But for right now, it's all about you. It's all about you.
Procrastinate. I am a procrastinator too. But when I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna do it because you obviously have something you need me to do. I need to get it out. So I just went and did it. And your story needs to be heard too. Don't take at least an hour and just do for you towards your book or your novel, your journal, whatever you want to publish. Do it.
Yeah, I like this platform right here. This is my way of giving back to everyone, because everyone experiences it, even down to caregivers, family members, people who are praying and standing in the gap, praying for you.
Mhm.
They all feel it, even though they may not feel the needles, the surgeries, they're not at the doctor's appointments, but it's hard to see someone go through something that you can't help them with. It's
Yeah. My
very, very
my
hard.
my sister's circle was static. They tell me about it and I just get chills listening to them because like I said, it's certain things that I just don't remember and I don't have family. I call them my sisters, but they're my friends, but they're my sisters. So I don't have family here. So they stepped in, took my babies, made sure my kids were good, like everything. Like they did a surprise party for me before I started chemo and everything. So I'm very grateful for my tribe.
Amen. And can you put your book, hold your book up? Just want to have a visual of it. And the title is Strength in Scars.
Yeah.
Strength in Scars, available on Amazon. And your event is October 19th in District Heights, Maryland. And anyone who's interested can get tickets
Yes.
through Eventbrite. And we will put that information somewhere so people can make sure that they are connected to you and they're able to join the event and see and hear you. But before we wrap up, I just want to know, is there something you want to tell a woman who's either going through, has gone through, or just needs to know?
Um, I will honestly say I keep telling because I have a friend who recently was diagnosed and she just started her chemo and I showed up for her with a bouquet of roses and I just told her like you just have to stay positive. That is the best because everything is in your mind. And I feel like we think ourselves into bad situations sometimes. Our thoughts really regulate a lot. And if we can
Mhm.
stay positive mentally,
Yeah.
everything else will flow. That's even how stress is formed. You're overthinking things, you're overwhelmed. But if you just change your thought process and like, okay, I'm gonna slow down, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take a breath. I'm gonna take this one day at a time. I'm gonna take in what they're saying, but I know I trust a higher power, so I know I'm gonna come out of this. Like if you just keep telling yourself positive things, it really helps you get through this whole process.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love your positivity. I love your smile. I love your joy. It just radiates. And I'm hoping that everyone who listens to this will take something from it and be blessed. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Alexis. I'll see you
for
later.
having me.